Can I just go for a quick smoke?
No, you don't smoke.
You missed a smoke break.
Can you hear this, Councillor Deputy Mayor?
You guys should have yelled at me earlier, sorry. I didn't know everybody was back.
Okay, we'll call committee of the whole to order. Item number 1 on the agenda is a request from myself. Do you want me to speak to it?
If you wish.
Okay, so I get a call. Some Cub Scouts went around and they did a garbage collection, then they go to the dump and we charge them to dump. I think if you're going to go and do a community event and pick up garbage, we should probably cover that. I donated $20 to the Boy Scouts and Cubs to pay for their garbage until we get this settled.
All in favor of the mayor donating his money to all the...
I think you've missed the point.
If I can respond to this, Jim,
Yeah,
the
please.
process
Yeah.
is that the groups contact the town advising them when the cleanup is being held, and then we contact the waste disposal
attendant.
site, and
Yeah.
then they do not charge them.
Right.
So in the future, moving forward, if someone does approach any of you, please have them contact the engineering department so that they can make that necessary contact so they don't get charged a fees. This is for our area only, though. And there's a limit. It's like household, like just basically garbage along the road. We're not taking cars, we're not doing these kinds of things.
I was just going to say, when we organize community cleanups, like
Yeah.
we always just sent a letter and they
Yep.
paved the way, so.
All right.
I still think we should offer Jim's wallet to pay for the community
You're
organization.
just too kind.
Agreed.
You're just too kind. All right, 4.1.
Resolution coming.
What's happening here?
So this was the issue that Mr. Watson brought forward in the open session of council, and it was his concern about the child safety where it related to the taxi bylaw, and he believed that it needed to be included in there that they provide those kinds of services. This bylaw was specifically to regulate taxis only. We believe it's up to the others to comply with the Highway Traffic Act. That's our recommendation. I don't believe it's a bylaw that is necessary. I think it's under the Highway Traffic Act.
And not the taxi cab. There's a
Correct.
taxi cab act, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that's about livery licenses
Yep.
and specific to taxis.
And that's the bylaw we passed this evening, the taxi cab bylaw.
Correct.
So to the letter of the law, though, the vehicles that are mentioned in the letter do not fall under,
They don't fall under the taxi cab act.
they don't,
Yeah.
okay,
No.
all right,
Yeah.
so then,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
And I think one of the big differences is like they're not, well, they might transport people, like transportation isn't necessarily their business, right? Like whereas with taxi cabs, they're doing it to make a living. Like these people are doing it because, you know, they have medical appointments or
Services.
there's disabled people, exactly. Like they're not in the business of transportation.
Okay, let's move along then. Organizational and procedural bylaws.
Basically, this has been brought to the table in December, and there were some recommendations made, a few changes made. Requirements have been met. Jen did some comparisons with other communities. We want to bring this forward at the next meeting. We keep tabling this because we want changes. Unless you have any changes, please, this is going forward to the next meeting. We've had 8 bylaws sitting on the table, and we need to move forward with business.
I did send Jen a quick email, just
Yep.
a typo that I noticed.
Yep.
Okay, it's still in there as a typo.
So why can't we bring this forward for a vote? I don't understand.
Because we will be bringing it forward at the next meeting. We just wanted to say we've done everything that we've been told to do.
Okay, good.
Also in there in our committees, the bylaw, we have staff relations committee involved in management interviews. I don't know how necessary that is. It's been very clear that I'm the employee for council and mayor,
Yeah.
and I would like to continue doing what I need to in order to operate the town. So in there right now, it says that the staff relations committee forms part of the interview process for management positions. I'd like to be able to hire my own team.
Maybe it should be specific to hiring for the CAO,
I was
should
just
the
gonna
event
say.
arise.
Yep.
And that's it. Beyond that, it's only if, you know, I mean, if administration is in need of a body,
Gotcha.
then perhaps, then it can read that way.
And as I understand how this whole process works is you work for us
Yep.
and everybody else works for you.
Correct.
Okay, then you should be making those decisions. Does anybody, I don't want to just assume that anybody want to add into that or?
No, I think Andrew made a good point though about, you know, adding a clause except for the CAO. That would be
Oh,
my only
definitely.
comment that I would have had.
Yeah, we would want to play a role in that.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess with regard to some of that, then, looking at the bylaw and other areas that may be impacted by that change. And I don't know when that came into effect within the bylaw. There must have been a reason why they wanted it. It's only for senior
Yeah,
positions, is it
correct.
not?
Yeah.
Where the, someone from the personnel committee would sit in with yourself and whoever
Yeah.
on the hiring team is to,
And the
to
reason
do it.
that changed is council made it very clear that I was their only employee and that I reported to council, and I want to be able to manage my own management team. Council manages me, I want to be able to manage my own.
And that'll be spelled out in the bylaw,
Yeah.
that'll be presented,
It's
right?
basically removing it out of there, but I do like the idea if I'm not available, by all means.
Yeah.
And when it does come to the CAO hiring, that is your job. No one else hires a CAO except council and mayor.
Apparently you're entitled to vacation time too.
That sometimes happens.
So- Okay, so we'll wait to see the bylaw come forward
Yep.
then?
Yippers.
Just one quick question. The thinking behind going from 96 hours to 120 hours for getting stuff on the agendas, I'm just wondering what the thinking was behind that, 4 days as opposed to 5?
It was basically to narrow the gap down, because sometimes we don't get the information until, say, the Wednesday, and because the way we have it set up now, managers submit their sheets, I review the sheets to make sure there's ample information on it. So when I'm getting it sometimes on a Wednesday, you don't get the information until Thursday, until I've had the chance to review it, because there may be more information that's required. We are still well in advance of meeting the requirements,
Sure, okay.
which is good.
Yeah.
Councillor Roth.
well, I guess there's a presumed assumption that everybody works the weekend in counting. We don't count business days, we count just days. And when it was on a Wednesday, meetings, there were 2 business days prior to the meeting, where now the 2 business days prior to the meeting are the weekend, whereby,
No?
No,
Wednesday.
you actually get a little more, because Monday you would do your agenda for Wednesday, because it was the follow-up from the Monday night meeting. Now you're posting it no later than Thursday, so you have Thursday, Friday, Monday. You have additional time to review your agendas.
oh, okay, so
Yeah.
it's stretched out, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 4.3, meeting with the Kelsey School Division.
As a result of the meeting that council had with Kelsey School Division, they had asked if we would look at appointing a community liaison committee of 3 members of council, so that we can meet on some basis to discuss matters of mutual interest. They'd like 3 councillors to sit on the liaison committee, plus administrative staff. They're looking at wanting a meeting on April 14th, May 12th, or June 9th, and this would be at noon. So can we bring forward 3 members of council that would like to sit on that liaison committee?
Okay, so just hang on a second, I'll bring my calendar up.
You're away before, or not?
Not away in May. I don't think.
April.
There's April 14th, May 12th, or June 9th.
Okay, I'm away on the 14th. I'm sorry, May? What?
April 14th, May 12th.
12th, okay. That's my mother's birthday. Not that I'm having a big party or anything, but yeah, I could be available on May 12th.
May 12th. So you would like to be on that committee?
Yes.
Chad, you mentioned you'd like to be on that committee?
Yep, I'd like to be in the
Can we have one more?
I would.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
And it is a noon meeting, and they'll provide lunch, so we will let them know that May 12th works great.
Is it a hot lunch? I'm kidding.
Depends on what's on the agenda.
Gotcha.
Is it really?
That's probably even, oh, he's all excited.
Okay,
Wow, there you go.
all
Being
right.
nostalgic, I haven't ate there for 20 years.
4.4, Precious Pet Kennels, request for funding.
This was a request for funding and a donation in the amount of $2,500 to $5,000 for a spay-neuter clinic. We are seeing several organizations that are kind of closely related that have individually been coming to council. I would honestly like to see us streamline this and the town to write a letter to the Paws and Claws and Cats and Kittens and Humane Society and all this. I would like to send a letter to all of them saying, please put a plan in place as an organization and then come to us. This is, like, we're getting so many individuals, and
Yeah,
personalities aside, I think everybody has got the right means for the right thing for the animals.
oh, for sure.
And I think that we need to look at a proposal based from all the groups. What are your feelings on that?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree that they all need to come together and pool their resources. I don't know if this necessarily falls within that. I don't know if they're planning on doing it, if it's a one-off or if they're planning on doing it all the time. I don't know, maybe we could get some clarification on that.
They do come into the community, they go into northern communities, it's a regular thing. Regular maybe every couple of years, but this isn't the first time they've done it.
Okay. Have we been approached for donations
Yeah.
before? Did we donate?
No, at the time, no. It's always been a budgetary constraint.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it would be good if we could support it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but let's get them all together so that everybody's on the same page. That's the thing. We've got,
Well, we had the pod cats and kittens come and ask for $15,000 to do some spaying and neutering, and now being asked for another.
and the next is the building, and then it's
$5,000
something
to-
else, and so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this letter that Randy's going to send to them, might just get them going on,
Yeah.
working on the same page.
yeah,
We can facilitate if necessary, but it's not a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah, if we can mention that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Okay. Get some direction. Okay, 4.5 business license bylaw.
We looked at the business license bylaw, and the way it works right now, what we would have to do is anybody coming into town would be paying a transient fee. So that's a $150 fee per year. And that would include people coming to the trade show. I think what we've done is we've looked at other communities, and when it comes to a trade show, they look at a minimal fee. And that was, like, in comparison with Flin Flon Thompson, it was basically a $50 fee for that weekend trade show. I think for trade shows, we should look at something a little less, say $50, and a craft show license fee of, say, $25, and nonprofit fundraiser events would be charged no fee. It was also mentioned that if we're going to be looking at the large events, such as the trade shows, that maybe it be a one fee and they divide it amongst everybody at the trade show, and that they be responsible for collecting that fee on their behalf. And this way, we're not having to run around and provide licenses to everybody. Just throwing some ideas around there, but I do believe that we should be a little more open for business. But at the same time, I believe we do need to charge those people because our local businesses pay money every year for their license.
Yeah.
in
What are
terms of
council's thoughts?
I think we should have a separate fee for trade shows and craft shows.
And craft shows.
That it should be a little bit cheaper than our normal fees. I mean, you do have people who aren't making exorbitant amount of money at craft shows, like maybe they're selling knitting or yarn or whatever. So I mean, if you go and charge them $150, you're probably taking 90% of their profits right there, but like definitely pay something.
I'd made a recommendation of $25 for a craft show, and I made a recommendation of $50 for the trade show.
You know, I know some people who go to craft shows, they set up their booth and spend their whole day there and they lose $50, you know. And it's a love of the craft, is
Yeah,
what they're doing.
agree.
You know, and so, yeah, I don't think you want to,
I
you know.
think we'd be better off looking at a one total fee for the whole trade show. I just feel that if we get into charging each individual vendor that comes into these trade shows, it's a lot of work administration-wise, the collecting of these fees, the issuing of the business licenses. If we could just have it where, you know, say, we charge a trade show fee or a craft show fee, and it just, the organization pays it, and however they decide they want to collect that, that's up to them. Because it's just, I just feel the logistics of us issuing business licenses to every trade show participant, it's a lot to it. Are we going to have administration running around the trade show and,
No. It'll cost us more money than
it would
it's worth.
cost us more money than it's worth, so we just wouldn't end up doing it for $50 or $25, like.
There's not a lot of goodwill to be found there anyway, chasing someone down for $20.
No.
Yes and no, like if you go to the trade show and the trade show has 40 booths on a good year where they're sold out, so 40 booths times $50 each, that's like $2,000.
And if half of those are actually people that are here for business and not for profits, I'd be surprised.
There's a few people who are in the trade show that also come for the craft show at Trappers, the big show.
Yep.
And so, you know, getting a good deal. I just think it's important to be fair to all. And I don't know that this is something that we should start mid-year. You know, that maybe this is something we look at starting on January 1st of 2017. Because there's a lot of people who went to a big craft show in February, and then we have a trade show. We didn't go after them, but we're going to go after these people at trade show.
Because we already enforce that bylaw right now.
Yeah.
The reason this is back on the table is right now they have to pay $150 each business.
each person that's coming to the trade show, and that's hindering the
Yeah,
registration for
that's
the
not
trade
right.
show. Because of our bylaw, which is why,
Wait,
which is why it's on the table.
we had a transient trader fee in our
Which is
agreement.
$150.
They've been paying that?
Well, no, it's,
They will be.
No, that's just the thing.
We
if we're
gave them
enforcing our
3
bylaw,
months.
they will be.
Is the guy selling the fresh fruit over at the lot beside the
Same
Wiscana,
difference.
is he paying $150 a year?
Yep.
You know?
Oh, because it's a farm, yeah.
Oh.
It's like a farm business agriculture thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people bring up their pickup trucks and park at the corner
Yeah,
and,
sell
you know,
them.
for $8.30, and by $9.15, they're sold out and they're gone out of town. They took all the money with them. And chase him down too, I guess.
But yeah, the reason this did come back to the table is because for trade show, it was going to cost everybody $150 per license.
Well, I mean, maybe, I mean, to me, it seems like administratively, it would make the most sense to just expect whoever it is that's hosting the trade show to do one license for your trade show, and make sure that that gets tied back to the same bylaw as the business license bylaw, so that that there's fairness for the local businesses that are competing against the transient businesses that are turning up for this thing.
A trade show fee and a craft sale fee?
It's something,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Like, we need fees for both. And it's
Yeah.
just,
I mean, you could term it the same way, right? If it's a, I don't know what the right word is for that, a fair of transient vendors, whether that be a craft show or the Chamber of Commerce trade show, or if the Winnipeg Boat Show decided to come here for a year or whatever, and a bunch of boat vendors come or whatever, it's all the same. Whoever it is that's hosting that event of gathering together transient vendors, your one-time fee per event is X, you know, it's $15 times the number of vendors that you're bringing in, or whatever it is, but you're not chasing 40 vendors, you're just,
Exactly.
whoever it is that's organizing
Yeah,
is
don't
responsible
want
for
to get
paying.
into that.
I would consider looking at a trade show fee of $500 and even say $200 or $250 for a craft sale.
Whatever you think is appropriate, Randy,
Yeah.
I trust your
yeah, I
judgment.
think that that's probably
Yeah.
in the proper ballpark or whatever. for sure.
Okay,
Okay,
so we can look at that?
let's do
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Perfect.
Okay, 4.6, payroll and accounts.
Basically, a resolution will be required to approve general checks in the amount of $430,109.81 and payroll period 6 in the amount of $104,72.45. Basically, we had our airport rental, which was almost $20,000. We had airport fuels, which was $45,000, and $182,000 pretty much in tax sale properties that we had to pay outstanding taxes.
Yeah.
So that's where that
Okay,
was from.
So we issue a check to ourselves?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's basically for a cancellation.
both work.
Yep.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, we'll get a resolution then. Item 6.1, agreement with NAV Canada.
NAV Canada provides us with services as it relates to our air flights, the call-ins through Saskatoon. So what they've done is they've made a few little changes with some rewording, and it was basically for editorial changes. The content and obligations remain the same as outlined in the previous agreement. We do not pay any kind of a fee for these services.
Oh,
I know,
you caught me there.
me too.
You caught me there.
So it's basically letting you know I'm signing it off on behalf of the airport.
Okay, good to know.
That's it.
Can we have a motion
Be it
to...
resolved that we now do move ourselves into the in-camera portion of the committee of the whole meeting with Mayor Scott in the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
Okay, there's nothing coming out of it. Yeah, thank you very much.